How'd you guys like that for show lag? So welcome to the show. If so, at the beginning there's the countdown, and then I manually have to like time it when to click the video intro. And usually, I click it when it still shows maybe right at the end of 2 or right on 1. And I clicked at the same time, but it didn't. It took a good 4 seconds for that to click on live. So anyhow, in case you think that this is highly edited and well polished, there you go. We just pulled back the curtain. It's good to see everybody. It's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It's time for Proper Royals Live. I'm excited tonight. I know I always try and bring some excitement, and I always do. I mean, as far as the guests, I'm always excited to hang out. I mean, that's never faked or manufactured, but it's a little bit of a selfish show tonight because I am going to get the results of 6 ball python sheds from Charlie at Grey Rider and shedtesting.com. And he's going to reveal live what my results are. I don't know what the results are. I haven't seen them yet. And then I thought, like that's fun and all. But I didn't want to go just like total Maury Povich. So anyhow, there's some content coming up. Charlie's going to take us through the process, what he looks for. If you've ever wondered how he can be so certain of the results, he will show us, and we'll do that live with at least one of my sheds. I don't know, maybe more. So we'll go through that. We'll talk about what investments he's made, the volume capacity he can handle. And then, some jeans have been in the headlines. I don't know if you've seen it, but we've got updates on Trick Blitz and Hurricane. And then I heard a comment in passing from one of my colleagues the other day about DG as well. So maybe I'm not going to say maybe. I'm sure Charlie's up on it, but I don't want to put him on the spot. But if he doesn't know, he doesn't know. But we will check in on those topics as well. So stick around. Charlie from Grey Rider Reptiles and shedtesting.com is on the show tonight. Thank you, audience, for being here. Holy cow, 35 of you right outside of the gate. I'll have to catch up on the comments. And by the way, if I ever miss you, I do go back and watch the shows, partially for the comments and then partially to see, what I could do better and try and learn and always improve and blah, 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 those sorts of things. So if I don't see something in the notes, I'll reach out to you afterwards. Oh, and you're more than welcome to reach out to me as well on, Instagram and email and all of that. So welcome. Glad to have you all. Thank you very, very much for being here. Thanks for all the support. Yeah. And it's kind of a new concept for me. I've never done this concept. So this is a little bit of a test. I don't know if it goes well, we could do it more often. We could have other people on. You could send your test to Charlie and you could come on. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, these shows really are about the audience. It doesn't do any good for me to just get my kicks. Like, I could just stare in the mirror and run my yapper if I want to, So I don't know. We'll see what the metrics say. You guys let me know what you think of the show afterwards. It'll be cool to hang out. Before I forget, down below is the Proper Royals LinkTree. You could get access there, direct links to my Facebook, Instagram, email, phone number, Venmo, and Patreon are all in one convenient place. You can check it all out. I would appreciate it if you did. I don't know what day it was, and I feel really, really bad. I guess if I thought long enough, I could sort it out. It's Tuesday. Sometime over the weekend, we lost Brian Barczyk, and I never met Brian, and I know that a lot of you have, and I know that a lot of y'all have been around a whole lot longer than I have. But what a loss! What a guy! What a person! Both for our industry, but from what I could tell, for his family, really bridged the gap. I think, in my own personal opinion, between both pet owners and serious breeders. Amazing. Usually you kind of got one camp or the other. And sure, there's some outlying opinions out there about Brian, but that's not what I want to get into. So what a loss. My many blessings and I hope for peace for his family. I couldn't watch that farewell video as long as it's been going through end of life care with my mother in hospice from cancer. It's still pretty raw to me, and that just wasn't going to be something that I could see. So one of these days I'll watch it. But many blessings to his family, and thank you so much, Brian, for everything, for the commitments to the industry and everything that you did for us. And in a roundabout way, it's kind of interesting. I do have some animals that he produced. I know that mathematically that's not very difficult to come by, but I do have several animals that he produced, so that feels a little bit special in that way. So cheers to Brian for sure. I was on a podcast called Petsotics, Petsotics, and that's mainly a fish channel. That's Diego's aquarium channel, and he'd been talking to me. This was last Thursday, but Petsotics is the name of the channel on YouTube. He says, Adam, you want to do a panel of fish keepers and reptile keepers, and we'll talk about the hobbies and the businesses. I said, yeah, sure. I rarely turn down an interview, and I sign in and there's Billy Rose staring at me. So, it was me, Billy, and Jeff and Angie from Celtic Balls as the reptile keepers. And then a couple fish keepers. It ended up being a cool talk. And credit to Billy, man. The guy can go on any topic. He's so insightful, so business-minded. Anyhow, go check it out. That was a cool episode, and it might not pop up in your normal YouTube feed because, again, it is primarily a fish channel. But Petsotics, Petsotics. Thanks to Diego for having me. That was last Thursday. Pardon me. I went into overtime. I've been rushing. I literally flew. Charlie will vouch for me. I flew on to the green room about 6 minutes ago. I went into overtime cleaning my rodents out there, which are but I tend to have a little bit of an allergy to them. Got some histamines flying. I had my mask on and everything, but today was cleaning day, so it had to get done. Shows coming up. One note, think about this, guys. This is an issue that we're dealing with here in Minneapolis right now. There's a great show, Cold-Blooded Expos, not Cold-Blooded Cafe. That's different companies. Cold-Blooded Expos, they do a great job in the Midwest. Big shows, really professionally done, best breeders. They're the closest I've seen to some of the marquee shows in Florida since I've been up here, both in volume and quality. The last show, I think it was November must have been. Maybe even December. Anyway, doesn't matter. It was at the Ballroom in a DoubleTree Hotel, nice hotel, Bloomington, Minnesota, right next to the airport. And the next show is scheduled for February 4th. I go on the website, no shows listed for February. Well, I paid for it. I'm vending. I'll be there. What's going on? A vendor, and look, mistakes happen, accidents happen, but here's the situation. A vendor had or didn't secure properly one of their animals. So what happens is the DoubleTree freaks out because they've got a snake roaming their facility, which is quite a nice facility, and they've canceled the contract for the show. Now, to Cold-Blooded's credit, they swear that there's going to be a show and that the show will go on and that we will find a new venue and all of that. And I believe that he will. Jason runs a good operation. Just think about it, guys. Like, take care of each other. Do things the right way. You influence and affect people around you. And whether it's Jason, the promoter's livelihood, the rest of us that want to vend there and make some money, the people that are used to going to the DoubleTree. This wasn't a dingy fairgrounds that were, there's nothing wrong with the fairgrounds. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some nice shows, this was a nice show. And it attracted a nice group of buyers. And by that, I mean people that will spend money. There's, I would say, influential, but very, very well-known top of the industry breeders here in Minneapolis area that only vend that show because of the quality of it. And now that's in jeopardy. So think about that, guys. Take care of each other and your actions at the shows as well. So Cold-Blooded Expo coming up February 4th, wherever that might be. The next week I'm in Des Moines, Iowa at another Cold-Blooded show. And then the following week, I'll be in Rothschild, Wisconsin, just outside of Wausau. I head back there, and that will be the 3 shows I'm doing in February. So I'll be busy in February. That's coming up. And I'm officially starting the orthodontist fund. My son will be getting braces on February 1st. And turns out those are pretty pricey. So if you want to check out some snakes, you let me know. We got Charlie from Grey Rider on the show tonight. Those of y'all that don't know, Grey Rider Reptiles is the brand name for his snakes. He's a breeder, certainly of ball pythons, maybe some other species as well. I'll get him to fill us in on that shortly. So the Grey Rider Reptiles. Charlie figured out, and I'll let him tell the story a little bit, although he's already been a guest on the show. You can go back and see it before. We got a lot of action. What do they call it? A long way to go, a short time to get there tonight. So maybe we won't just rehash the past, but Charlie said about saying, man, if other people are doing genetic testing, maybe I can figure this out. And through studying the scientific journals of, I'm going to call it the gene maps, but Charlie will know the exact word for that. Basically, he hacked the business, and I love it. I love that story. And full transparency, not that I'm a journalist or that I don't know, my brand is transparent, so I'll tell you. But obviously, Charlie is a sponsor of the show. He's a great supporter of the channel. But I will tell you, too, when I partner with people, I do pretty in-depth interviews. And I want to make sure that I'm passionate about what I'm doing and who I'm sponsoring and the brands that I align with and blah, blah, blah. Well, when I heard and thought about Charlie's story, and when I had an opening on what I call the banner sponsors, those two banners down below, I was like, man, I got to take a stab at getting Charlie on board. And I was going to say it took a little. It didn't take a little while. We talked a lot to make sure that our visions and mission and all of that were aligned. But it's such a cool story, and I'm so happy to have Charlie both as a sponsor, but on the show. I love the story, whether he was a sponsor or not. I would love the story. I love the story of disruptors that figure out a way to create their own niche and see a demand or a place for an alternative in a market, and they go get it. It's just fantastic. I love it. So I'm excited to be part of his journey, and I'm not making this about me, but it's cool to be a little bit vicariously enjoying the ride as well, because now obviously his success is part of my success. So anyhow, enough yapping. Let's get to the show. He's got 6 shed tests of mine. We're going to get those answers. I'll tell you the stories of each snake as we go through it. And we'll just have some fun tonight. We'll hang out. We'll see what comes up. Thank you all for hanging out. If you have questions of your own, put them in the, put them in the chats. And I'll do my very best to get to them now that I can engage the chat as well, now that we're going to bring on Charlie. So for, I think it's the second time that he's been on the show, please welcome back to the Proper Royals stage, Charlie from Grey Rider Reptiles and ShedTesting.com.
What's up,
Charlie? How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure, man. I'm glad we could make this happen. I don't know. Like I say, it's a new concept, and I was kind of like, I was excited about it, but then I was like, I'm excited because I'm selfish. I was like, I don't know. Maybe Charlie wanted to.
I've had your results now for, at least a few days, probably 4 or 5 days, and you knew I had them. I don't know if I could wait. Like, I'm too impatient for that, but you weren't bugging me or anything.
I typically am really impatient, but then first I wanted to save it for the show, and anybody who's ever been on the show can attest. Like I don't even talk to people in the green room because I want the full natural interaction. We don't really do show prep. I do show prep, but like I sent you, I think, 3 sentences. Here's what I'm going to talk about tonight, So anyway, I wanted it for the content, but I also asked myself, I was like, it's not going to change anything in the next 5 days. So I just got to I was like, just save it for the show, Adam. And I'm a terrible actor. I couldn't have acted. Like, I was surprised. So no, thank you for doing that for me. And for people that don't know, give like I said, we already did a whole episode on you, but give like the 2-minute background. Tell people, give us your pitch, man.
Yeah, I mean, most people know it by now, but yeah, real quick, I'm not a scientist. I saw Dr. Seidel on Brian Rivera's show a couple of years ago, and she was talking about shed testing, and I was like, oh man, maybe I could look into this and try to figure it out. And long story short, I did a research for probably 6 months, bought the equipment, probably another 6 months of trying to figure it all out. And then I would say I had it all figured out, and I was testing a few guys' sheds, just, friends, whatever. And then RGI came out and said we could do shed testing. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, I didn't even know.
Oh, so you were doing this before RGI rolled out.
Yeah, I'm sure they started doing it on their own like me before me.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I had no idea who they were when I started doing this.
I thought you sort of entered as and
No,
I know you
no.
and RGI have a good relationship,
Yeah,
but I thought
no.
maybe you had entered as an alternative to
No,
you know,
no.
comedian
I literally
alternative
had it
casting.
all done, and I was doing it before I even heard the name or knew it existed.
Yeah.
You could add all the guys in Baker's Blue Line Morphs Patreon. You know, they were the ones sending me in all the sheds when I was, you know, trying to figure it all out, and it was well before anybody was sending in sheds to anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the thing is, like, not having being educated in this, it took me a while before I needed to know it was gonna work before I said, hey, everybody, I could do this. So, you know, I obviously used as many snakes of mine as I could, and then I was just reaching out to guys I knew to send me their sheds, and I was doing all theirs. And then once I realized it was working, then, you know, people were like, just put it out there. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna. And then I was like, all right, we'll see. And probably for the first 4, 5, 6 months, not many people knew about me, and it was a handful of people. But I wasn't that busy. I was doing, you know, probably a dozen maybe sheds a week.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, now it's every single night I'm pretty much doing it. I was doing it right before this show. And is he still on? I saw Locked and Loaded was commenting earlier. I gave him a bunch of results right before I got on.
But, perfect. Yeah, that's Frank. It
Frank,
was funny because Frank is an awesome dude. I got to meet him in person briefly, but he's always supported the show, and he's one of those guys, like, you meet in person, you're like, dang, I'd like to. You never know until you meet somebody. But anyway, he goes, wait, whose tests are Charlie revealing tonight? He's like, I sent Charlie sheds to be tested. Are those going to be revealed on the show? I was like, no, I'd at least give you a heads up. But I was like, you can message Charlie. I said he might have them. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and I apologize. Usually I'm a lot quicker, but I would say on Christmas, it was Christmas Eve. I was doing runs of like 32 tests on Christmas Eve, and nothing worked. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I thought I was doing something wrong. And so I did the same test Christmas night. The same thing happened. I realized my thermal cycler, which is the main piece of equipment you need, was broken. Wasn't heating up properly. So I scrambled. I ordered a new one. They were supposed to get it last Saturday, and Postal Service lost it. They have no idea where it is. It's a huge box. It weighs 50 pounds, and they don't know where it is. So I ordered a new one last night, and I paid for overnight shipping. So they're shipping it tomorrow. I'll have it Thursday. But in the meantime, I have my original 8-spot thermal cycler that I bought in the beginning. When I wasn't even filling up 8 spots, like in the beginning. Like I'd do like 2, 3, 4, 5. If I had full 8 going, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And now 8 at a time, I'm doing 3 runs a night, and they take a couple hours each. So I'm up late every night trying to get as many done as I can. But hopefully the mail or FedEx, whoever the hell is delivering this thing, it's on Thursday, and I get my money back for the first one.
Right.
And but yeah, I might even keep the first one just as a backup, having a really good backup just in case it happens again. It sucks to spend that much money on something that's most likely just going to sit there, but this sucked. Like the last 2 weeks has been brutal. Like, and the sheds have not stopped. Like, it's just every day, tons of them, and I want to cry. But I'm doing my best to get them out as fast as I can right now. But starting this weekend, I'm just going to go nuts, and I'm probably not going to sleep, just catching everything up. And I have a lot of other stuff going on with the testing. Like, I have the whole Bell complex. I just haven't had time to test it out. I collected a bunch of sheds. I have tons of sheds I've been going through to send out for sequencing. So I've been dealing with my lab, and that's all finalized. So once I get all sheds together for whatever genes I want and other people want me to get, it's all ready to go. And, you know, I'm going to start pumping them out in the next few months.
So does that mean you now have with the partnership with a lab or through those resources, you have the ability to, for example, to get your own tests. Like you don't have to because I know that there's some of the stuff that's published in the scientific journals, and then there's some that's treated as proprietary research and development. So you can get in on your own proprietary research and development now.
Yep. So it's always anybody, it's there. Labs, you have to do this stuff in a lab unless you have $1 million for one of these sequencing machines, or a couple $100,000 at least for a decent one. But the thing is, they deal a lot with humans and with mice labs. So to get them to understand exactly what we're looking for using reptiles, it's a little bit different. Like, so I've had to go back and forth with them a lot, like saying like, this is what I need. This is the stuff I need to get back. This is the data I need, and, trying to explain to them what we need, and then having other scientists that could speak to them better than I could speak to them on calls and video conferences with me and helping me out dealing with the labs. And then it's getting pricing for everything because it's not cheap at all. But it's all done. So we're ready to go. And I got to go see what I was hoping to send Monsoon first, but I still need a handful of visual monsoon sheds. But once I get them, Monsoon will be out. I think I have enough super chocolates, so I might send chocolate test out, get that out. After I send them out to them, the process usually for them, they said, is about a month, maybe 6 weeks. And then they'll give me back some data. And then if all goes well, it's still probably going to take me a few weeks of digging into the data they gave me to find out exactly where the gene is and what primers to use, etc. And then after I do that, I have to test a bunch of them and make sure it's working 100%. So it's definitely not going to be like, all right, I got all these monsoon sheds, I'll send them out and I'll have the test in a couple of weeks. It's going to take a couple months, probably 2 months.
I think it's probably the case of classic case of if it was easy, we'd all be doing it. So I mean, that's how from right now, how far back is it that you started like, okay, I'm gonna learn this? 12 months, 18 months, 24 months?
My Square account started in February of 23. So that's when I made a website in February of 23. I offered it to people to pay for it, like to Venmo and stuff, probably January. But
no, but I mean, like when you were like the light bulb went off and you're like, I'm going to research this and figure this out.
2 years.
2 years, man. And now you're explaining to gene sequencing labs what I can only imagine their response when you're like, yeah, well, this is a double chocolate. And they're like, what?
Usually when I have the calls with them, I'm in here. So I'll take snakes out and show them like, to be like, this is this, this is this, this is why I need to know this, and they're interested in it. Like, cause they obviously don't hear this often ever.
No.
So, they're used to like a pharmaceutical company or, some other big research company sending them the same old stuff over and over to do. So when they get something like this, a lot of them actually are pretty interested. So yeah, it's the funniest thing is when I tell them like, no, I took bio lab in college and that's about it. I have a computer science degree, not a biology degree, not a doctorate, whatever.
My tax guy, I've referred a couple people to him, and he emailed me and he goes, Adam, is this a typo? Somebody just told me that they need to know what to do with the expenses for a $10,000 snake. I was like, oh yeah, probably. That's probably, yeah, that could happen. And immediately the phone started ringing. He's like, what? I was like, I don't spend 10 grand on a snake, but people do. He was like, all right. He's like, I had no idea what you people were up to. I was like, you people, huh? He's like, yeah, you people, $10,000 snakes.
No, yeah, people think it's nuts. Yeah, I mean, and then I go into my day job and people like always ask me, so what's going on in the snakes? And I'll tell them like stuff, and they're like, this is unbelievable. They're like, you're out of your mind. And like, wait, you're telling me you have snake sheds in your house? Like you test these things? And yeah. Like, how the hell do you know how to do that? But they know how I am. So they're like, no, it makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That you would do something like this. Like that's you.
Something we could probably all relate to is just getting through the holidays. Man, my wife's mom is a sibling of 10 and they're all here. And I haven't met most of them before. And they're like, oh, you're the guy. You did that snake thing? And it like everyone, how many do you have? Why do you do that's got to smell? Only good snake's a dead snake. And I'm like, we didn't even bring up the shed full of rats. I was like, okay, we'll skip this. Yeah. We're trying to explain what an ASF is and not a rat. And I was like,
yeah, like we'll be at lunch and then all of a sudden somebody will just like Google me and then pull up. Somebody literally pulled up the interview that I did with you, whenever that was, and was playing it at like when we were all sitting around eating lunch. I'm like, but yeah, you can't hide it at this point.
Well, all right. Well, you want to jump into some of these shed tests, man?
Yeah. How about we'll do I have it up and loaded, the candy test first.
Okay. All right. So I'll try and give, some of these don't have interesting stories. And if they don't, I'll just give a quick sentence about them. But the candy female, first off, for anybody that's worried that Adam's getting this thing tested after the story I tell, the clutch that she laid was infertile and I've never produced a hatchling from her. So I've never sold anything that I'm uncertain of from any snake, hopefully, but certainly not from this candy girl. This candy was like early in my days of acquiring snakes. So I got her off of Craigslist. And the guy says, all right, meet me at the Dollar General in Orange Park, Florida. And Orange Park there's some plenty nice parts of it, but this wasn't one of the nice parts. I go to meet him at the Dollar General and I park like right by the front entrance of the Dollar General to make sure I'm on the camera. Cause I'm like, man, this is all sketchy. And I got cash in my pocket. I'm waiting for the guy. And as the guy pulls up, out come like there was two dudes just come flying out of the store screaming. And the lady from the cashier, she goes, they robbed me. Get these. I'm not for blah, blah, blah. The store got robbed. And it was funny because I looked at the guy and I was like, well, if you were going to rob me, the cops are going to be here in a couple minutes. And he goes, no, here's the snake, man. I'm like, okay. So is a candy is what he sold it as. Well, come to find out in the local reptile groups, that guy is pretty unscrupulous is what he became recognizable as around Jacksonville. And I saw him at a show one time and he goes, hey, how's that Candino girl doing? And I go, what'd you call her? And he goes, oh, was she a candy? And I was like, what excuse me? So anyhow, off to Charlie's shed test. Is she homozygous for candy or is she Candino het for candy is what we want to find out here.
Can you see my screen?
It's not shared, but here it comes. There it is.
All right. So this is what I get back from the lab after I do the PCR here and I test to make sure that the reaction worked and everything. For some genes, I have to send it out for sequencing. Some I test at home. Het candy, I could actually test at home, but we wanted to make sure that this was not het albino as well. So
yeah,
these letters here are like the last few nucleotides that lead up to the candy. Oh. Okay.
And what program is this that we're seeing? Is this a specific genetics program? Or is
yeah,
this like
this is just a viewer for this type of chart. So see,
okay.
CGATC. And so the next one, if it's a C, if it was all blue here, it'd be a candy. If it was all red here, it would be a normal. You have both. So that is het candy.
That is het candy. So that is an adult Candino that I have.
Wait, hold on. That is just het candy right now. So now we want to look at and see if it's het albino as well, right? Because you aren't sure.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
So it's
Gotcha,
a different
yeah.
location. Okay. Can you see this again?
Mm-hmm.
CGTGG, CGTGG, A. So if it was het, oh shit, did I lose it? Okay. If it was het at this A, you would also have the G here. So this is not het albino. It is only het candy.
Oh, so are you saying it's a visual candy then? Like you can't test for homozygous candy?
I can, but it's not. So that snake is het candy, and so it's a Candino looking snake.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab it now. So this is a whole new. So you're saying that the science shows it's not het albino and it's not homozygous candy. It's only het candy according to the science here.
Correct. So let me just bring it up. So this is Candy 38. Candy 38 proper royals. Find first. Yes, CGGGG. A. And then A. Yep. It is not het albino.
Okay.
And
well,
then
I'm happy it's not het albino.
But the only way that it could be a Candino is if it's for some reason, it's the other line of albino. See? Yeah, you got two. It's het candy. That's not a visual. See,
I'm going to show you this snake. Hang on a second. we got something to figure out here. We might not solve it tonight, but we have something to solve. Hang on.
Yeah. So based on the science right here, it is not het albino, and it is 100% het candy.
Okay, but and according to the results, not possible homozygous candy, not visual candy.
Correct, because
all right,
the wild type, this red would not be there.
Gotcha. Well, let's take a look at it. I'll show it to you. Hang on just a second. Yep. Let me make sure. She'll probably bite me, but just a second. All right. So if nothing else, I'm not crazy. It's not, it's not a normal looking.
Yeah, no. So I'm guessing it's a Candino with the other line of albino that isn't in this test.
Gotcha. That would be a reasonable, obviously scientific explanation.
Yeah, because it's not just het candy. It has to be either candy or a Candino.
Right.
If it's a lavender, that's het candy. That's the only other option, because it is not a visual albino. I mean, it has het candy in it. So if it was, it could be, technically, it could be lavender het candy.
It could be.
I have the shed still. I'll test it for lavender just to make sure.
Okay.
But my guess is that it's going to be a Candino with the other albino line, because there is two lines of albino and I only have to test for one. Never really cared about trying to find the other test because not many people ever test for albino.
Right. Yeah. Who's going to pay for that? Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that would be my guess, is that that's a Candino. It's definitely not a visual candy. I'll tell you that.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, and that pretty well eliminates it. And I have a lavender, and she looks quite a bit different. So, all right.
I would bet that it's a Candino that is it's het for the other line of albino.
of albino. Okay, just 1 second. Let me put her back then.
Creative genetics, yes, they are. Yeah, Chris, if that, so here it is again. Let me share my screen. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah, sorry. There we go.
Okay, so if right here there wasn't this blue line and it was just the red up here, then it would be a visual candy. So if it looked like this here, but right here, it'd be a visual candy. Since they're both allele, so there's the candy and the wild type allele right here. So the candy is there and the wild type is there. So that is het candy. It can't be a visual. It can't be a visual candy. If the blue, just say this line came back down there and just went along the bottom, and this red was up here, then I would say it's a visual candy. And if so if the blue was just here and the red was down here, not there, then I would say it's nothing. It's not het and not visual.
All right. I always say, and I always tell people, like, factual answers, whether I like them or not, are always useful so I can make good decisions going forward. And that's going to shape the decisions going forward. So that's cool, though. And it's cool to see. And it's that snake has always caused me trouble, man. It's kind of neat to know that's got to be that other line of albino. Like you said, that's cool. So if I got to think through through the scenarios off the top of my head. So if I breed it to a candy pied male, obviously everything would be 100% het pied, but I could get candies and candino het pieds. And I need to learn
if you bred it to a visual candy, everything will either be candies or candinos.
Yeah, and I got to learn how to separate those, or Charlie gets more business.
Yeah. So let me pull. So right now we're going to do the clown test for the Centauri.
Okay, so all right. I'm sorry, I got to write this thing down. So test shows het candy and ergo candino. All right. Yeah, so that is a Mojave vanilla. And then there's a guy named Solomon from Eastern Florida Pythons that's been working on a gene that he calls Centauri. And he reported quite a lot on it up until January of 2023, about a year ago. And then since July of 2023, I haven't seen any more updates on it. He was working on getting a super. He had produced a couple of what he thought were, or what he said, not thought, believed, and felt that he had the proof to prove were Centauri clowns. And this particular female came in a bundle of about 15 snakes that I bought. I was vending at a show, and somebody that was vending with Solomon was moving, and they finally, they'd asked me if I wanted to buy out their table, and I was like, nah, I don't really need to. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. And it finally got to a point where the asking price was so low. I was like, all right, now it's worth my while. And I knew who Solomon was from Eastern Florida Pythons, and this person was vending with him. And I kind of played the, birds of a feather kind of thing. All right, I'll get them quarantined and all that, and then I'll make a little bit selling them, and I can keep a few. Well, this female was labeled as 50% het clown. And it's kind of cool because I was able to trace the patterns in this snake back to one of his videos where he was showing his proof of this gene that he calls Centauri. And it's a beautiful snake. I actually am really hopeful that it's het clown. I don't think I'm interested in sort of working the Centauri gene. That's not really my thing. But if I can make clowns that are new and cool and different, I'm very excited about that. If not, I might find somebody that's excited about the Centauri project and pass this girl on. She is beautiful. She's really electric, very, 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 very bright. And I'm hoping that's indicative, maybe a little bit of a result from the het clown. So Charlie, what does the science say? Hit me, man.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, sorry, I got to add it to the stage there. Okay, I see it.
All right, so this location right here is where the clown gene lies. And as you could see, there is only one peak here, meaning that it is a wild type. It is
a wild type. It is not het for clown.
If it was het for clown, you would see an A here. So you'd see green and black, just like the other one you saw red and blue lines. Here for clown, you would see green and black overlapping here. So that is not het clown. You know what? Let me see. Let's see something here. And it is not het cryptic either. Het cryptic would be right here.
Okay.
Just checking, but yeah. So it's not het clown nor het cryptic.
All right. Well, hey, if anybody knows anything about this Centauri gene or is interested in it, or I don't know, I like I said, I couldn't find in my show prep today. I couldn't find any reporting or update on it since, like I say, about July 2023. So anyhow, a great looking girl. I might, the Mojave and Vanilla still look amazing. And if she's not het clown, that thing is bright. I mean, it looks hypo, to be honest with you. It's so bright. So it still could be a good candidate to breed to, an axanthic or a clown to make some hets. So I'm not sure. She's right at 1,000 grams. So it wouldn't be till fall anyhow. So I will figure out. So we will X out. We'll make that 0% het clown.
What about the Cypress?
Okay, this one's cool. So first is Cypress gene that I'm excited about. That was from Jeremy Bod. I'm naming names here, so we're gonna, this one better pan out for something. He and I trust Jeremy. He's awesome. Jeremy says this is, to my understanding. Now, of course, I can make mistakes too, but Jeremy says this is produced from a krypton, so it could be het clown or het cryptic. And he says it's also 66% desert ghost. You know what? How about before we go, if somebody's going to pay the money, fine. I'll show the Centauri girl real quick. How about that? That's Jennifer. Thank you. Just a second, Jennifer. I'll show her off. 1 second.
Looks Mojave.
Yeah, so Mojave, Vanilla, and he says this Centauri gene as well. But it is extremely bright. And again, I don't know if her head will hold still, but like I say, she looks almost hypo in person. And she's got those green and blue hues that I don't know if they show through or not. But again, a beautiful snake. I might make hets with her. I might pass her on. She eats mediums, right? She's just a voracious eater. So I feed her a medium every other week. But she's right at 1,000 grams. So there we go. That's her. I'll be right back. 1 second. And Jen, sorry, she's on that reel that I posted today as well. Yeah, Chris says you got to try and isolate it. Yeah, I know, but I don't think I want to spend the next 7 years of my life trying to prove out a gene, man. It's just not up my alley. I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. If I keep it and I can isolate it, cool. But but I'm not sure. That might be a better project for somebody else. We'll see. So, okay, the Cypress Het Krypton, 66% DG. So, according to Jeremy, this should be either cryptic or clown. What does the science say on that?
Check the screen. Share it. I got it shared.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What would you rather it be?
I guess on a slim like 55-45 split clown, but cryptic or krypton, because I'm going to breed. I bred it to a visual clown female, super Enchi. So Enchi Cypress kryptons would be cool. Enchi Cypress clowns would be cool too. So
this is right here. See my mouse? This is the clown. This is the clown area.
Okay.
So what do you think based on what I've been saying?
I have no, oh, well, all right. I have to make a quick admission. I can't tell the color differences on that whatsoever. I have a bit of color blindness, and those are so thin, they all look like gray lines. So if the height,
either way, there's two lines there. So that means there's two different mutations in this same location. So the green is clown, the black is the wild type. So this is 100% het clown.
Oh, nice. All right. That one makes, I mean, if I can get Cypress clowns going, that is cool. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell into the microphone, everybody. My apologies. I can't. All right. So that one is het clown 100%. All right. So I should have some cool Cypress clown stuff coming up this year. How about that?
So now the rest were run on gel. So I don't have that to share a screen, but we'll do, I think you had an OD lavender pos het pied. Is that?
Yeah. That was that one was produced by George MD, cool breeder down in Florida, and he just produces the nicest stuff, man. His ODs are so bright. So I took a flyer on that one. That's a male, and he'll be by fall. He'll be definitely. I could probably try and breed him now, but by fall he'll be a great producer. So I'm really hopeful that he's het pied. And I think if I were to lay a slight wager, I actually would bet that he is het pied just from, I think I spotted markers on him. I'm not great. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yep. OD Lab is 100% het pied.
Oh, cool. All right. Now that's
Juno. How about Juno?
All right. Juno is a female, and I bought her early in I probably wouldn't buy her right now. I would just spend the money and get the guaranteed hat. So Juno is a visual lavender. She was sold to me as 66% het pied. I don't know the breeder. I bought her 2.5-3 years ago as a hatchling, and she has produced for me. She produced plenty of lavenders. She produced no pieds and no dreamsicles. So I'm leaning towards not het pied. But I think there was only 5 eggs, so it's not that far out of statistical predictability or whatever wording we would use.
It is not het pied.
It is not het pied. Okay, so Juno is a straight lav. All right, visual lavender.
Last one is Jenny.
I've told the story many times, but people are watching. I don't know if they've heard it before or not. Jenny was the very first breeder that I wanted to buy. Jenny is the reason I have a YouTube channel, because my wife looked at me and she goes, "Oh, you want to breed these things?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be cool, right?" And she goes, "What are you going to do with those babies?" I said, "Well, I'm going to sell them." And she goes, "Oh yeah? To who? Who's going to know about you? We live in the sticks in North Carolina, and you're just going to pop out ball pythons." And I said, "Yeah, okay, you got a point." So then I started YouTube because of that conversation, and I went and bought Jenny. She was sold to me as simply as a pastel. I had her about 3 weeks or a month, and the guy calls me back, and I was already disappointed in the guy, so I didn't actually even respond to him, I don't think, or I said no thanks or something. The guy calls me back. He goes, "Hey, I'll buy her back." And in my mind, I'm like, why does anybody want to buy back a breeder pastel that they were just able to get rid of? And so then I started stalking his Facebook page and stuff, and he produced from her what he believes were kryptons. And this was going back 3 years ago. So it was pretty early in the Krypton project. So at that point, I kept her, and she proceeded to not produce for 2 years and just produced for the very, very first time. I just hatched her eggs not even a month ago. So those are either a clutch of pastel Enchi het clowns, or there's some neat looking ones in there. Maybe I got some Kryptons. What does the science say about Jenny? Is she het cryptic?
So I just checked. Jenny is not het clown.
Okay.
And she is also not het cryptic.
Yeah, Jenny is just a plain pastel. That's what I was afraid of. I should have sold her back. Okay. Well, got a big old breeder pastel and some handsome looking het clowns out there in the rack right over there. Well, she gave me 11 eggs.
So you did 50-50 on the piebalds. The one is het candy. I mean, I guess you would have rather it be just visual candy. But yeah, then you got a het clown for the Cypress one. Not too bad. Yeah. As
far as future plans and like where I want to get to and where I want to get going, the OD Lab het pied, that's going to be great because I have a visual dreamsicle female and I have quite a lot in that project. So he's going to be helpful to work in codoms. The Cypress is going to be great to work in. The Candino, I got to make some decisions on that. I've always sort of wondered if I wanted to work both Candino and lavender, or candy and lavender. And my answer was always yes, but now knowing that I'm starting with a Candino, that's a little bit tougher. But yeah, she's a good eater. She's a good breeder. I got the visual candy pied male.
I mean, if you could sell those babies at shows, if you could get like put a candy pied or an albino pied to her or something like that, you might.
Right.
Or yeah, I mean, if you just got a candy male with like a bunch of genes in it, you can make some cool looking candies and Candinos and just sell them at shows.
Yeah. And I do okay on them. So it's like I was saying earlier, factual data is way better than wandering around in the dark hoping stuff, and think about too, the other cool thing to me, like you said, this just occurred to you to start doing 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I would have been it would have taken me 3 more years to figure out the data that you provided for me tonight. You know what I mean? And that's if I hit right and hit well and all of that. So it's helpful. It's useful. It's business. It's, there's a couple disappointing things in there. But it's pretty cool. It's really cool to have that data and to know, and like I say, to be able to make those decisions. Plus it's cool that we're experiencing this innovation and development at this time. I mean, just to be a part of it, it's a cool time to be in this industry, man. It's super cool.
I know. Like I think about it even just today or yesterday, I was thinking, and I'm like, man, like, because like I have a clown pied het hypo boy that I'm breeding to a few girls, and he's going to a visual hypo, but he's going to another clown female that doesn't have hypo. So I'm like, man, but still I could get het hypos out of this. I know which ones I'm keeping. I'm going to test the hypos. I know which ones I'm keeping. I'm like, yeah, I would need another rack if I had to hold back every female.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like you forget how it used to be.
Right. And just not that long ago. I mean, this is it's the pandemic. The pandemic feels like just yesterday, like all the hell we were going through.
Has been around forever now. Maybe just because 99% of my day, that's all that's in my head is this. But it just blows my mind that like at one point people had to hold back everything.
Yeah.
I have a big breeder right now who has sent me probably 150, maybe more sheds in the last few weeks, because he has held everything back and he's not tested yet. In the last year that this has been around, he hasn't tested anything. And he's like, people just convinced me I got to test it. And he's like, dude, I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. I have so much stuff I could just sell now, and then not And then like I was talking to somebody else, like not only does it help you for your holdbacks and stuff, but you're making less ball pythons available in the industry because yes, even though the ones you still got to get rid of those ones that are not the hets. Now you're not going to make more that are not hets by trying to prove that out down the line.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
no,
you're not
exactly.
selling that. You're selling that for what it is. You're selling it as a not het hypo. So the person buying it isn't going to be like, oh man, I really hope this proves out, and then breeds and gets 10 snakes and they're all crap, and now they got to go on Morph Market for $50. You know,
Yep.
It is helping the industry shrink, I believe, because there'll be less misses, you know, and people won't have to breed everything.
Yeah. And I was thinking, somebody had said to me recently in the past couple of days, Adam, essentially to the effect, Adam, you're so concerned with efficiency, but you're letting it get, you know, in the way of, basically their point was, you're going to burn out because you're trying to do too much. And my answer was, efficiency to me is not about only getting 5 hours of sleep. It's not about working 16-hour days. It's about getting to your goal faster so that you can get fulfillment and then get on with drinking a beer and watching I watched the national championship game the other night. I watched the playoff games on the weekends. I'm going to go to a show this weekend with my son and my wife. Well, I do. But what we're talking about right now is a perfect example of that. We're reaching the destination in a better, more efficient way that's good for the industry. It saves our space. Now people in just the room or just the area we see on your screen can actually efficiently work a project rather than having a whole extra rack for a whole bunch of, like, if I didn't know, if I had in my mind, because we hang on to dumb stuff, if I had in my mind, well, that guy wanted to buy her back for some reason, I better keep breeding her, better put another 5 years into that. No. Yeah, or figure out what I'm going to do with the big pastel.
Right. Think about it. If you have a clutch of, say, 7 eggs, I mean, I've tested people's 50% hets, say 6 eggs, and none of them were het. If you could get those odds, you could get 6 nothings, and then say 4 of them are girls. You hold back all those girls, and then you breed them all, and they each have 6 eggs. That's 24 more snakes that have no chance of being a top quality animal.
Yeah, and will drain your time, resources, energy, sanity, drive you mad, drive you crazy over years. So, no, I love it. I think it's great, and I'm going to use somewhere in a future video that story and that example is going to come up. Man, I agree completely. Hey, we got 67 people. Let's pay some bills real quick. You all right with taking a quick break while I run down these sponsors real quick? Guys, if you don't know, you got to know already. Charlie, right there, shedtesting.com, Grey Rider Reptiles. He's been very, very kind, both to myself, but also I think to the industry. And we're going to talk in a minute a little bit about his turnaround times, his customer service, his volume capacity, all that stuff. But use the promo code PROPER15. You're going to get 15% off of 2 orders. 2 orders. I don't see a little star or fine print there. You do what you want with that. 2 orders, 15% off. Give it a shot. Redline shipping. There's a reason that you see Robin and Redline everywhere. They do it great. They do it the best, I think. Yes, the prices are good, but the customer experience, the customer interaction, the security you get with their customer service team, they'll talk to you before you pack it. They'll talk to you before you buy anything. They'll tell you when to ship, how to ship. And I know from experience, if you insure it for enough money, they will personally know where that package is every bit of the way. So I trust Redline quite a lot and absolutely recommend them. Use the promo code PROPER5 for $5 off of your next order. Don't go away, guys. These are the people that make this show possible, and I mean that literally. Next up is Brandon Nixon. He's over in Maryland, and he's working. Firstly, check out his Instagram if you haven't. You will learn everything you need to know right away when you see his Instagram and the quality of the reels that he puts out, the pictures. Like me, I just get the iPhone. I just make something every day. Brandon's doing special effects, green screens, and it's all well lit. Check it out. Brandon works with the Orange Projects, Sunset, Ultramel, Monarch, and Hypo. Codoms incomplete, or Codoms and dominant genes in there as well. Really high quality stuff. Very knowledgeable breeder. Check him out. Brandon Nixon, Nixon Reptiles. Next is Ball Labs. That's Trevor out in Aurora, Colorado. Trevor also, again, if you watch his Instagram, not only Ball Labs, he just unveiled Rodent Lab as well. He just put a whole lot of investment into his infrastructure and the rodent side of what he does. Trevor's been keeping for 20 years, been breeding ball pythons for 15, working projects like Puzzle, Ultramel, Clown, VPI, Xanthic, and Tri-Stripe, and don't tell him I told you, but he's also got Monsoon, Zebra, and Sunset if you knock 2 times and say the secret word type of deal. That's Trevor at Ball Labs in Aurora, Colorado. Portuguese Pythons, speaking of the project Redline, they've been working closely with Redline on their new patches, but that is Danny and Renee Roca out in Chino, California. Great people. I know for a fact right now they have Pied Ultramel clutches with various codoms included. I have a project from them that has Blackhead, Trick. Oh, we could talk about different names we could call that now. Blackhead, Trick, and Mojave in the Ultramel Pied project. You'll start to see those hatchlings from me in the next few years. But go check them out for their availability right now. Awesome people. Seriously, wonderful folks. Last but not least, Chris at B and S Reptilia.
Skip Chris. Don't worry about him.
Hey, guy's everywhere. There's a reason he's everywhere. He cares so much about the industry, and he's so knowledgeable. Reptilia, because he has so many different species, ball pythons, blood pythons, locality, boas, Pituophis, colubrids, words I don't even know what they mean. He's got them. If you know what they mean, go check them out. I do know Pituophis, I think, means milk snakes and bull snakes. But Chris is a wealth of knowledge, great individual, great human being. And we vended Tinley in October together. And hopefully, I got to call him. I got to pin him down and find out if we're vending in March together or not. I will be there. Hopefully, Chris comes out again. But in the meantime, he's also the regional distributor for the Chipper out of Pennsylvania. That's Chris at B and S Reptilia. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for watching. We were up at 67 a moment ago. Jeremy Bod, I see that you're on now. Your boy that I bought from you this evening earlier, just before you logged in, proved out 100% Heifer Clown, man. That would have been awkward if you signed on and I was like, Jeremy, yeah, got a little problem with the science here, man. No, it's all good. Let's switch away from you personally for just a second, Charlie. What can you tell us about? I actually didn't see it, but just judging from Instagram, was it shown, proven that Trick, Blitz, Hurricane, they're the same?
Yep. So scientist Jürgen out in his Pro Herpers, his company's name. He's out in Europe. He sequenced all the hurricane sheds, and he came up with the test, and he proved that it was Hurricane and Trick were the same. And then RGI got the test from him, and they just proved, I think they only had one Blitz in there, but it tested positive for Hurricane. So Blitz, Trick, and Hurricane now are scientifically, genetically the same thing. Whether or not you want to say all line bred and one is better than the other, whatever, go for it. But
oh yeah, well of course that's what comes next after they're proven to be.
It's just like acid and confusion. You know, they're gonna you know, whatever. It's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, that was I should have that test soon, and but yeah, a lot more tests coming. I just need a few more visual sunset sheds, a few more monsoon sheds, and then whatever anybody else has super forms of. So super anything, I'm going to get everything. So I'm going to spend the money and I'm going to test. I'm going to get, once I get enough sheds of everything, as they come in, they're going out, and they're just going to be lined up one after another as I start getting data back, pumping them out. So yeah, if anybody has sheds for any tests that I don't have that they want, send it in. Reach out to me,
so
whatever.
Yeah, Dale was asking about Puzzle. Where are you at on that on the horizon? Is that something
coming, yep, that is out for sequencing now, and hopefully if all goes well, maybe a month or two.
Wow. Very nice. What about now? I heard somebody say, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was I think it was Jessica at the Holdback Rack, and we're good buddies, so nothing. I think I heard Jessica say that DG was back to what were we calling it, polygenetic, and then she says now it's monogenetic. But I don't know if she was being sarcastic and just saying like that's the way everybody's treating it, so it's de facto. Has there been an update on DG, or where's the situation with DG?
I believe I mean the people in Canada found it as well, and I'm pretty sure that I haven't RGI doesn't talk to me about that, but I'm pretty sure their DGC is showing that it's not, that it is just a simple recessive. I haven't, from the data that I've seen that they've released publicly, that's what it seems like. If there's anything else, I don't know, but as of now, from what I know, it seems like it's a simple recessive, and their DGC is actually hopefully it just starts getting called the DG test, and they just use that. But so it seems like that it's just the one location, but the other locations are just very good markers for it. So at least A, I don't think B was a great marker for it, but DGA, I believe, is pretty consistent with DGC. So yeah, they're the ones to talk to about that. But from what I know, there hasn't been any new news that came out.
Gotcha. And so does that, and I'm certainly not trying to badmouth RGI or anybody else, but so does that mean that whole hoopla was nothing or something? It's a little bit different, but in reality, are the results going to be the same?
They said that it was 80-something% accurate, the DGA. So they told everybody what it was. It's not like they went out in the beginning and said, listen, we have a DG test, it's 100% accurate, and that's it. They told everybody that in the beginning, this is what it is. We have what we think are very good markers for it, but we're still looking into it. They made the test available, and people kind of just took it and just went with it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they did anything wrong. They said it is what it is.
Right.
And people were so eager to get that test that they didn't care. They were just like, all right, boom, 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 send them out. So, and I believe now that obviously you'd have to ask them, but I believe that if you had something tested already from them DG, that they'll retest it for C for free. So don't take that as gospel, but I believe that's what I heard.
Yeah, no, I can empathize with that. I won't say who or what companies, but there are people and they're like, this person you advertised for did this. And I'm like, we'll call that person, talk to them. I don't know. I'm not the guy with the gene sequencer. I'm not sure. Give Charlie or whoever a call, So no, I don't think that you're responsible for representing them whatsoever. All right. Well, cool. How will people know what to send you, or is that just something that they should stay in contact with you on? Or
so everybody knows what I have. You can go on shedtesting.com and all my tests are there. The ones that like I said, I have the Bell complex from thanks to Dr. Hannah Seidel. She did that with her students and released that to RGI and myself. RGI, I believe, has it available already, but I've been so busy I haven't had time to get everything going on that, but I have the Bell complex, so eventually I'll get that up on the website. And the main thing is my website is getting redone. It's been getting redone for over a month now. It was supposed to be done weeks ago, but obviously I want it perfect and I want it exactly how I want it, and it's costing me way more money than initially I was told, because I keep saying, no, I wanted to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want it to be able to do this, I want customers to be able to do this. So it's taken longer. Then hopefully in a week or two it'll be exactly how I want it, and then I'll get all my new tests and everything on there. And but yeah, so if you have sheds for like the main ones like monsoon, I have a decent amount of monsoon sheds, visuals. I could use some more though. I could use some more visual sunsets, super orange dream, super red stripes if people have super chocolates, super lace. So white lace, people have white lace sheds. Get the trend that the super form, like the visual form, obviously most everybody in here probably knows the visual form is homozygous and then the super form is homozygous.
Right.
So
So that's what you need is the homozygous form.
if you have just an OD, it's a heterozygous OD. If you have a super OD, it's homozygous OD. So just
Correct.
like on those charts I was showing you, if you have an OD and they were testing it, you would see two lines. One would be the OD allele and one would be the wild type. If it was a super OD, it would just be the one line. If it was neither, it'd be the other line of the different color. It's the same thing. So that's why, yes, you send me the cocoa shed, and once, obviously I won't use that for sequencing because we don't know what it is, but after I have the test, I'll be able to check it out.
Then you can compare it to it.
Right.
Then it becomes binary.
Right.
It either is exactly the same or it's not, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I need to know that when I'm sending these things out, that zebra too, 4034, yes, I want visual zebra sheds. That's something that people have been asking me. So I have maybe like 3 visual zebra sheds, so I could use a decent amount more visual zebra sheds. And that would be something cool to see if that is the same thing as Mackenzie or not. Chris, yes, I believe there's some bang sheds heading my way very shortly, and we're going to be working on a test for bang as well. But yeah, so super forms of anything that I don't have, just send them. If you need my address, it's on the website, and just write for research on it or whatever. And just be sure you know what it is. Like, that's the problem. If I start getting sheds, some people are like, I'm pretty sure this is super Mandarin, and it's not. And, it can screw up the data,
Yeah. Jeremy asked the sheds have to be homogeneous. That's for the research, Jeremy. You don't need it for the cocoa. Once you have the chocolate map, you'll be able to compare it, right? Yeah.
Right. I could use the heterozygous forms, but so after you get back data from the lab, you'll get certain differences. They'll say, all right, these are certain locations that are different between the monsoon samples and the normal samples. So then you have to go dig into them and find out which one is which. So if I have all super forms, all homozygous forms, it's going to hopefully bring that number down of locations that I have to look at. If I have, because the heterozygous forms, you'll have the wild type part muddy in the waters. So, it's much better to have the homozygous forms. But certain things like Mandarin, I don't think I'm going to get enough super Mandarins. Lace, I might be able to get enough super laces. Yeah. Rainbow, Jason, send them in. Collect sheds, send them in. I'm down to get anything. I have it set up. Like, I put money aside from the last year of testing, and I'm going to sequence every single thing that I have the sheds for. So just send them in.
Okay. And maybe if he was asking, are you going to have the test for it? So I guess you're saying you don't have any. Do you have any sheds?
I don't have it. So, if you have visual rainbows and a bunch of guys that have visual rainbows, start collecting them. Send them in. And
Dale knows a guy that's got some rainbows.
Yeah. So, it doesn't matter. Yes, other codoms can be in the mix. It's the least amount, the better, but especially if it's a super form, it's fine. And then, especially gene, like, so if you have like a super chocolate clown, we know where the clown gene is. So I could easily, eliminate that as I'm going through the data. But yeah, it definitely helps to have it as little as possible, but it can have other genes in it. It's no big deal.
So I'm afraid to ask this, especially if the other guys, turn on these interviews while you're at work. But this is, to Jason's point, this is pretty ambitious stuff. Where does this start to run into day job, family, being a dad, drinking a beer or not, or watching football or whatever it might be for spare time and fun. Where does this get out of hand, man? Or where does the other stuff get out of the way and let's keep expanding?
No, I mean, the day job is staying. I'm not leaving that. I have 10 more years until I can retire. So that's
okay.
You know, it's too good of a job I have. I like it. And that's the thing. Like, that's why I could do this, because I don't use this money to feed my family. Gotcha. Literally every penny I've made on shed testing has either stayed in the account or been used to upgrade equipment or been used for research or been whatever, marketing, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
I haven't taken $1 out to just go, you know, take my wife out to dinner or something. So that money's sitting there. I have some money ready to spend on equipment. If it does get too big, you know, there's been a lot of people that have reached out that want to hop in the game with me here, and you know, either be investors or whatnot.
Yep.
And I also might hire an employee, because if I could have somebody come and set my lab up for me while I'm not here, and when I get home, all my stuff is clean, all the sheds that I want to test that night are laid out, everything is organized, ready to go, and that's the longest part, is all that, like the prep work, you know, especially when you're running a lot at once. You know, it's a lot of prep. You know, you have to clean everything. You have to, you know, make sure everything is right. This is like you lay out all the sheds, and then I have something like this where I write every single thing, the test that's getting done, the snake identification, the customer across, and they all have numbers on them, and then those numbers have to match with the numbers on the tubes, you know, so everything has to be perfect. So for somebody to get somebody in that I can trust, that, you know, would be able to do that stuff for me, save me so much time. And so that's something I started to look into now. But yeah, I'm going to make it work. Whether it's buying new automated equipment. I had a meeting the other day with a big biotech manufacturing company, and they know what I'm looking for, know what I'm trying to do, and they've been giving me some good ideas of different equipment to buy. Not cheap at all, but if it's going to make my life easier and keep everybody's tests getting turned around quick, then I'm going to do it. So
how outside of equipment, you know, failures that will happen and FedEx errors or any shipping company, we don't know if it's FedEx, referring to the story you opened with tonight, how fast can people generally expect to get their shed test results from you?
Probably within a week now.
Yeah.
Once I get caught up, right now, some tests maybe 2 weeks, but once I get my new equipment in, hopefully Thursday, I would say by next week, it'll be a week, but it also depends on the day that I get your sheds in. So if I'm coming home from work, I stuff my PO box and I happen to be running hypo tests that night. I have a crap ton of hypo tests to do, and I open up my stuff and there's somebody sent me a couple hypo tests and I have room in there. It's going to go in that night and they're going to get the results that night. You know, you literally get your results within an hour or two, within 3 hours of me picking it up from the post office. Or if I just did that, now I might have to wait a few days until I get to do another one. My goal is to not test every single night like I currently am, because it's kicking my ass.
Yeah, you got to have life. Yeah, exactly.
So my goal is to have a couple nights a week set aside to do it. You know.
Yep.
It's still, you know, hopefully I still could get it done. Yeah, and yeah, Chris, I that's great. They're going to be, if they get their stuff done in 2 days, then yeah, it is what it is. You know, that's their full-time job. They should be getting it done in 2 days. I work at least 8 hours a day on a regular job, and a lot of times it's a lot more than 8 hours a day at my job. So it is what it is. I mean, people need their stuff done, but I still always, like, if somebody gets a hold of me, is like, hey, I need something by Wednesday and it's Sunday, you know, and I get your shed on Monday, I do my absolute best to get it done by Wednesday for you. But yeah, there's just so fast that I'll ever be able to go due to having a full-time job.
Yeah.
And there's
Down.
nothing we can do about that. You know, there's nothing unless I hired somebody to work for me full time doing it. If it got busy enough, and maybe I would. But right now, I think people are all right waiting a week. You know, especially since from the beginning I've been trying to give everybody results as fast as possible from day one. You know, so I
That's what
hopefully
struck
people
me.
understand where I am at, and hey, it is what it is. Like if people want to not use me and use them, there's nothing I can do about it. You know, they're good. They're full-time gigs. They're the guys. You know, I'm just here for the ride.
Well, and I think in our I don't want to share any private conversations, but in general, when we were talking, one of the things that struck me was exactly what you're saying. From day one, that's been your style. From day one, it's been, I'll answer the phone if you call me. It's you're the one man show. Like I have no idea about any other brand. I don't know, but I know with you, you're the guy. You're the guy doing the work. You're seeing it. You're the one picking it up from the post office, and you're the one calling or emailing people, hey, here's your results. And I think that there's value to that. And it does come at a cost sometimes of efficiency and speed. But on the other hand, being accessible is, I will share one little personal thing. When you were talking about having the conversations at home, when other people were saying, hey, you got to hang up the phone sometimes. You got to stop doing this midnight stuff. And you're like, no, these are the customers. This is building a business. That's what it is. I can't pass that up. And it rang so true with me. And that's when I was like, man, I want more than just a business partnership. Like I want to work with this guy. And that's where I was like, man, our visions, our missions are aligned because I mean, even our own negotiations and talks. I mean, some nights we're at 1 a.m. Hey, can we do this? Hey, what do you think about this? Would this be included? All right. What would the cost of that be? What's it worthwhile to do that? Oh, you could probably make more there. Yeah, but I want to work with you. Like all of that was just, it was just right on, man. And that was where I was like, I'm passionate about working with this brand. Let's find the right value point for each other on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm doing my absolute, and like literally, like some people say like I don't do research or I don't, I'm just, using tests that are available for everybody or whatever. I had to research my ass off just to figure this out.
Yeah, like who else is doing it? Nobody.
Just because the data is there in a scientific paper doesn't mean anybody could just sit there and read it for the first time. Like, oh, I can do that.
Right, exactly.
What do you think I did for 6 months before I even purchased a piece of equipment? Like,
yeah,
literally, this is all that is in my mind all day long. Like, that's it. How can I make it better? How could I, and I did not go to school for 8 years to do this.
right.
It's just, I'm behind the curve and I'm doing everything I can to learn as much as I can and to make everybody's experience better, myself and all the customers. That's why I'm spending a fortune on this website. Like, I want the customers to have a good experience. And I want, when you need to talk to me about something, I want to be able to answer the phone or at least call you back really quick. I'm one of those people that if I have a 1 on my Instagram, or I have to clear it. So I'm looking at your message, and if I don't get back to you within a minute, it eats me up. So I always get back to people, and that's what pisses me off so much about dealing with other companies. Like, have nothing to do with this. Like, just even trying to buy this thermocycler. Like, I'm messaging with people. I'm like, dude, I'm about to spend thousands of dollars with you. How are you taking 3 hours to respond to me?
Right. And all I'm doing is trying to ask to give you money, and
right.
you can't be concerned enough for me. Yeah.
How do people? I mean, I guess it must be nice to have so much that you don't care. Like, if I have one person that's upset with me out of all the customers I have, it's too many. Like, I don't like it. And
right.
I do anything I can to make it right or whatever. Like, I do too much. And people always tell me, like, no, stop. Like, you don't need to do that. It is what it is. Like, I don't know. I'm probably never going to make $1 off of this because I don't know.
I tell you what, one of my metrics for my own personal success is that you make $1 on this because it means something to me. I think it's cool. And you took a chance on me. And again, I won't get into any personal specifics, but you took a chance on me too. So, man, I think it's cool. I think it's a cool story, and I think it's amazing what you've done. Mark 403 Fauna, he says, Dr. Seidel sent me procedures for the lavender test. My head was spinning, and I have a biology degree. You know, to your point, man, like just the determination that it took to do it is that was the attractive thing to me. I was like, man, I just want to be a part of it. I just want to not be a part of the story, watch the story close up and help it along. So
yeah, Steven's absolutely right. Like in the beginning, RGI was, they were sacrificing turnaround time because they were trying to, like they said, they wanted to get 30 tests in the first year. Like I said, I can't just sit. One, I still had to learn. I didn't know how to get new tests. So every day I'm talking to people on the internet, watching videos, reading books, whatever, trying to figure out how guys like them are doing that. Like, cause I wanted to know how to do it. Like I couldn't stop until I figured that out. And now I figured it out, and with help from a lot of people, and now it's ready to go. But I'm going to do whatever I can to continue doing the research and development side and keep turnaround times. It's going to suck, but it is what it is. I'm not going to ever risk making people upset with making them wait really long for tests, for results. If I never get another test again, I never get a test again, whatever. But, and then this thing, if I have to pay people to do stuff, I will, because it's different between me and RGI. RGI, this is their thing. This is what they do. This is my side hobby that just so happens to take up 99% of my life. But I don't need to make X amount of dollars a year doing this to survive. So it's not, it's different. But
I think it's a cool new part of the new chapter of the story too, because if the narrative was you're not doing the research, you're not developing your stuff, well, first, A, that's out the window. B, it didn't matter. You were providing the result and the service for people that wanted it at a great customer experience and a fair price point and all of those things that go with it. But now you are doing those things, which is even cooler. Like, I don't know, guys, I will not be straightening my labels after this podcast, I promise you. But now you are
at all. Mine are the worst. Like my labels are so crooked.
Well, what people don't realize is every one of these tubs gets changed out twice a week. So my labels, let me see, here's one. Boom, boom. They all have a little bit of that classroom blue sticky tack, and they pop off, and I clean it and I change it with another extra tub, man. I've got about 60% I've got about 160% of the tubs that I need. And all I do is I just flip them. And that's what I do. And boom, boom. There we go. What was this opportunity to play the tag placement off as a special code? Yeah. Oh yeah. I could start programming like codes and games into my, I'm going to skip that. Charlie, I want to say thank you so much for being here. We've already gone the 90 minutes, man. It's a fun episode. I want to see what people think. Like, I don't, obviously your time is incredibly valuable, although you could send me I could go full Maury Povich. You could send me their results and I could pass them on. But I don't know if it's something that people want to do, or if you want to do like a once a month or a once a quarter. Mm-hmm. I don't think I do. Now I'm probably going to go through my collection and be like, man, I need to test that, and that. I don't know. I'll probably find more, but the mom being not cryptic, that just got rid of 9 other tests I could have possibly had to do, because ain't none of them going to have cryptic if the mom didn't. But I'd love to, we'll figure out how we make something like this work, even if it's only for my own selfish shed test things. Guys, go check out shedtesting.com. Check out Charlie. Charlie, thanks for what you're doing, man. Are you going to be at Tinley in March again?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, nice. Well,
I don't know if anybody's going. I'll be in White Plains on Sunday as well.
Oh, cool.
In New York. It's only probably 2-hour drive. 319, you could send it my P.O. box. It's on the website, shedtesting.com. Or reach out to me on Instagram, Grey Rider Reptiles, and we'll get the sheds here. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely been times that I'm like, whatever. Maybe I shouldn't keep pushing this thing. Let the other guys just run away with it and do their thing. And then a lot of people just keep pushing me. So
yeah, exactly. Keep doing it, man. I mean, look at. You got to go back and I mean, I know you're keeping up with the comments probably better than I was, but go back and check out the show afterwards, man. I think you'll, I hope you hear it and see it. There's a hell of a lot of support, man. I think it's a cool.
And I appreciate it so much. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, everybody's been so awesome and, reaching out and helping me out, and just not even just the breeders and the customers, but other people in the industry that, have an idea. Hey, why don't you do that? I'm open. Like I said, if you have ideas for me, tell me. If you think I'm doing something wrong or do something different to make things better, I'm always open for criticism, constructive criticism. So anything that I could do to make things better for everybody, let's do it. So
nice. Well, I want to say personally, thank you very, very much for the support. I realized that that was a bit of a leap, as it is with all the sponsors, but you particularly, there's a reason you have the marquee spot there. So thank you very, very much for the support from me as well. I'm chasing down my own dream here as well. So audience, thank you all so much. I got Mike from Herp Collectors next week, same place, same time. In the meantime, Charlie's link is down below, but it's shedtesting.com. It's right there on the banner. Go check him out and keep an eye out for the tests that he's got coming soon for everybody. Until then, Charlie, stick around for just a second, but I'll see everybody else later. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you.